Welcome to Knicks Home Court with your host. My name is Greg Armstrong, and this is episode number 38. You know, I'm glad something happened in Knickland because I was just going to make a podcast with lists and talking about the best players in Knick history or something like that. You know how ESPN does, just when there's nothing going on, you always know that's when you hear the lists. But the Knicks have made a move. They signed Michael Beasley. He's going to average 30 points this year, I'm telling you. I'm joking. He ain't going to do that. He ain't going to even average 30 minutes. They signed Michael Beasley, and they officially announced Ramon Sessions. And they also signed Damian Dotson to a three-year contract. 2 of the years are guaranteed. And Scott Perry has also been busy signing staff and support staff in what he wants to do. And I like what they're doing. I want to say something about Scott Perry and Steve Mills. And I had spoke on it earlier. And people are so negative when they come to the Knicks. We don't get analysis. What we get is because it's the Knicks. That's what we get. We get negative and everything. Like, Knicks are not up and coming. Knicks have no hope in the future. And I'm like, but we have a player that could be our franchise player. But anyway, it's funny is that we hire forward-thinking, smart people. And by the way, African American, which is very progressive, and it's still met with, they wanted to criticize, but they really couldn't. It was good moves that the Knicks have made, sound moves. And the fact that Dolan is staying out of the basketball business, people are getting mad at that now. It's just amazing. But when I hear other signings, first, they say the Knicks don't need to sign somebody who's a name, sign somebody who's done the job before. Then they sign somebody who's done the job before, who's not really well known. Or they should have signed this. Like, people got all upset about David Griffin. I didn't want David Griffin. I did not want David Griffin. I did not trust David Griffin. I don't mind Steve Mills being there and being rewarded for his loyalty, for him sitting through all these regimes when he probably was muted. He probably couldn't make any moves and decisions. Do yourself a favor and go to Steve Mills' Wikipedia page and see how accomplished that man is. Before you open your mouth, go see all the stuff he's did and awards he's won in the business sector and in the private sector. Just go check him out real quick. Do your research. Don't let the media speak to you because it's the Knicks. I think that's lazy journalism. Now, let's move on. Now, Beasley, I like the signing. Folks, he averaged 9 points a game last year. Per 36, he was at, I think, like 20 points a game, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, which was surprising. And, folks, years ago, we would have signed Michael Beasley to be like a starter and average 35. Maybe he can resurrect his career because he's only 28. But now, I believe he's being signed to be exactly what he should be at this point in his career and what he's shown. A role player. You see, Derrick Rose, I'm glad we didn't sign him because Derrick Rose still believes he's Derrick Rose. Unfortunately, he's not Derrick Rose anymore. He's a poor man's Derrick Rose. You know what I'm saying? He's not the same guy anymore. Beasley is not delusional. Same thing with Ramon Sessions. They're not delusional. They're not great players. They'll never be great players. They're role players. They're support players. They're screws. They're little parts of it. They're not any part of the foundation. They probably won't even be here, or both of them most likely won't be here next year. But you need players that can come off the bench, especially like in Beasley's. Beasley can come off the bench and put up buckets. That's what he is. He's a specialist. He's a scorer. He's a professional scorer, and that's good. With a high octane offense and an up and down offense, and you got a player like that, that's good. Now, Beasley, we don't even know. He might not even get much playing time, folks. This is just filling out your roster. You fill out your roster with NBA players in case of injury as well. Because remember, Lance Thomas hurt the Knicks last year by being hurt. We were depending on him to be decent, to be a nice backup to Melo and a backup to Kristaps and a defensive player, which he had proved, and he was improving on a three-point shot, but he couldn't stay on the court, and we had nobody behind him. Remember, we still have Kuzminskis. And he wasn't, he was a rookie last year. I know he's 27, but he was a 27-year-old rookie in America. I expect him to be better. Don't forget about Kuz. So now we got Kuzminskis, and I'm gonna tell you what I already know I'm gonna love the Knicks offense this season is because they're gonna get up and down the court. And a player like Kuzminskis is literally made for that. Lance Thomas not so much, but Kuzminskis is. So they signed Beasley, and like I said, he might, if he plays, listen, if Beasley plays 20 minutes a game, there's two things. Either there's injuries, which is bad, or everybody else really suck. I expect Beasley really to ride the bench. Beasley's going to be like Derek Williams. He's going to ride the bench, and he's going to come in every now and then, maybe if there's a blowout, if we're getting blown out, if we have an injury, back-to-back games, things like that. To have a player that you can plug in like Michael Beasley, and you're only paying him the veteran minimum, I mean, really, that's a good deal. That's a good deal. He's better than the veteran minimum. He's better than that, talent-wise and potential-wise. If he comes in and says, I'm not going to smoke weed this season, he's a good bench player. So I like what they're doing. And again, he's not coming in here like, I'm the MVP. You know, he's coming in here and he's going to just try to ball out. Hopefully New York doesn't get to him. One thing I don't want to see, though, is I don't want to see Carmelo Anthony and Michael Beasley on the court at the same time. Ever. If Carmelo's still here, which I do believe he's going to be here to start the season. I do believe Carmelo Anthony will be here to start the season. Something I didn't say in the last podcast that needs to be taken into account. Carmelo gets along with all these players. Maybe I did mention it, but I'm going to mention it again. Carmelo gets along with these players. He's good friends with Hardaway. Kristaps loves him. The team loves him. They don't have issues. It's not like I want to get out of here. Like with Kyrie, he has to go because his problem's not the front office. His problem is LeBron. See, Carmelo's problem was Phil Jackson, not the players on the court. So it's not a volatile situation. He loves those guys. Those guys now, him wanting to go to a team to win, I feel like that's more of a push. That's more of, I think Melo wants to stay. I really do believe he wants to stay. But, you know, I hate to say it, but he's affected because if he just says, I'm going to stay even though we're rebuilding, he'll be going back on his word and he'll be looking bad. People say, oh, Melo doesn't want to win. But it's like, yo, look, I've had a great career. I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame. I love New York. My son is in school here. You know, and that's also what makes me think he doesn't really want to leave. And I believe what's going to happen is they're going to start the season, and with the kind of offense Hornacek wants to run, I think the Knicks are going to be much better. I think the Knicks actually, and why should the Knicks, and this is the thing I wanted to say, why should the Knicks tank? They should not tank. I just hate tanking. I want to get Kristaps in meaningful games. I don't want him to go 4 years of losing. 5 years of losing, and you think he's going to resign? Shit. Gordon Hayward just left Utah. You don't think he'd leave New York? Go run with the Milwaukee Bucks or something? Go run with the Phoenix Suns? Go run with the young Lakers? Clippers? Something? Shit, you don't want to fuck around like that. You don't want to do that. I want to see Kristaps in the playoffs. And all the Knicks fans who say they want the Knicks to tank, if the Knicks make the playoffs, they'll be excited. And this is the year the Knicks can get in there. I believe if they keep Carmelo, and you know what? I want to say something that I don't hardly watch First Take, but I do follow ESPN on Instagram, and they had a little excerpt of them speaking, and I don't know why I keep thinking Robin Lundberg is stuck in my head, and it's not Robin Lundberg. It's actually a guy who minted Max Kellerman. He said, you know, if you were to package Kristaps and Carmelo and say, we're going to trade them to a team, that team would be like, man, we're going to be good. We're going to get these two good players, and we should be able to be good. Well, guess what? The Knicks have those two players, along with Hernan Gomez, along with Hardaway Jr., along with Courtney Lee, along with Ntilikina. These are not great players, but they're decent players. And I think First of all, I think the Knicks will be better than last year because I think that, like I said, I really believe that Derrick Rose hurt the team last year. Because as many times I see him drive to the hoop and he just was not looking for Kristaps. He was not looking for anyone. He was trying to prove that I'm healthy and I'm still Derrick Rose. And I think that you cannot have him and I thought him and Melo, first of all, on the same team is just terrible defensively. And like I said, there was many times where you come down and I'm watching the game and I'm watching Derrick Rose and they setting the pick and this guy just gives up. And then you got a free rain into the paint. Why do you think Kristaps kept fouling out last year? You know? So I don't think that's going to happen with somebody like Baker. Not great, but defensively decent. When you have defense at the point of attack, excuse the background, when you have defense at the point of the attack and down low, I mean, you have great rebounding with Hernan Gomez. And what I like is I like Kristaps at the 4 because he's going to provide weak side defense. He's going to get a lot of blocks, not on his man, but the other man. Like if you know, in the paint, he's going to get those blocks, and I think that's going to happen. But you know, again, I like what the Knicks are doing. I like the fact that they signed Beasley. He's talented. You can't deny that. He's not a bum. He can come off the bench for 5 minutes, 10 minutes a game. He's not going to play 30 minutes a game like when Scott Layden signed, what's that bum name? Shandon Anderson. Who really, I remember when they got Shandon Anderson, he was athletic. I was like, I like this guy. But he should not be playing 35 minutes a game, 30 minutes a game. And that funny thing about that team, when they had Shandon Anderson, Clarence Witherspoon, Howard Isley, they were just good enough to win 35 games every year and not get a lottery spot. That was terrible. They weren't developing. They weren't young. They weren't getting any better. And they was just good enough. It was a pro team to win 35 games. So now you put Shandon Anderson and these guys, and they're the 8th, 9th, and 10th man, now you got a nice team. But if they starting, come on. Like if Beasley's starting, the Knicks are really bad. Now, because this year, I mean, we got 3 teams already that's not going to be in the playoffs. They already tanking. 3 teams. Tank for Michael Porter. That's what I'm hearing. I think the kid is going to be good, but I just don't think that's the way you go about it. I want to see Kristaps in the playoffs. Not only that, if Melo does stay here, I want to see him in the playoffs. And I think that Scott Perry and Hornacek had a meeting, probably with each other, and said, listen, I said with each other. I know Hornacek is like, shit, I want to win, man. And Melo's a great player. I don't think Melo was disruptive until they started running that triangle. He just doesn't want to run it. It's fucked up, but that's just how Melo is. But if Melo is willing to accept being the second fiddle on the team and giving up power to Kristaps, which in truth be told, you have to take that spot. Great players don't just relinquish the number 1 spot on the team. You got to take that spot. Or you got to be somebody who's already known. That's why if he goes to Houston, he's going to willfully be the 3rd fiddle because he's going to know Chris Paul and Harden's better than him. He doesn't know if Kristaps is better than him yet. Kristaps got to get out there and be like, yo, I'm the dog now. He got to show it. He got to show it. And then Carmelo will gladly be like, all right, I got you. Melo has never been a selfish player, okay? Because I remember when Hardaway's first season, and when Hardaway, in his first season, remember, he was fearless. And Melo was always they had a nice connection. Because Hardaway got that scorer's mentality. Hardaway actually got a killer's mentality. And we're going to see if that mentality can match up with his skill, and we're going to see what he's going to do with it. But anyway, what else is going on in Knicks land? I guess that's it. Scott Perry hiring people for the front office. Where does that leave Allen Houston? Well, I don't know. I mean, he's not Scott Perry's guy. Maybe he'll go back to Westchester. I mean, see, and this is the thing that I like with Scott Perry and Steve Mills. It's almost like you can't fire Allen Houston. And Scott Perry's like, sure, okay, I ain't got to fire him. So you know what he could do? He can go over here and he can just stand there and collect checks. It's okay. And as long as Dolan, see, that's why everybody's talking about it bugs me out that everybody was talking about, these people have to stay on the staff. But if you really think about it, as far as I know, Dolan never said those guys have to work with you. He's just paying them. He just doesn't want to just give Allen Houston money for nothing. I think it's more or less he feels indebted to Allen Houston because of when Allen Houston retired, it saved Dolan a lot of money. He probably feels indebted to him, so he's just keeping him around. But that doesn't mean he has to work with Scott Perry's staff. And I like the way he's doing that. He's like, look, okay, you still here. What's up, Allen? Cool. Cool, you still here. You just stay over there, buddy. All right, we're going to have a meeting over here. Have a good one. Collect that check, homie. That's all. So, again, the season will be here before you know it because they're going to start in October. Not the end of October, like the middle of October, which is quick, which is smart and is quick. They spread it out more. They're going to have less back-to-backs, which I'm very happy about. But anyway, folks, that's it. That's my take on the Michael Beasley signing. And I'm looking forward to more Knicks news, and I'm looking forward to the season coming up. And I'm also looking forward to the games that Kristaps is going to play in. Let's hope he stays healthy. Now, if he gets hurt, forget it. Forget I said that. He's not going to get hurt. Anyway, folks, this has been Knicks Home Court, episode number 38. I'm your host, Greg Armstrong, and I'll speak to y'all later. Peace.